goodness, folks. Hi! Well,
Hello,
here's our
everybody.
wonderful, lovely cast for Relics. So, I am, as always, Matt, your beloved killer GM. I have he, him pronouns, but I portray a wide variety of people, places, things, and maybe sometimes even concepts in this interesting fallen world of ours. Let's go around and get some introductions with our cast, and then we'll get things rolling here. So, first off, Kev, how you doing? Who are you playing?
Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin. I am new to the TTRPG space, or at least for this particular style of game. But yeah, happy to be included. I use he, they pronouns, and yeah, I'll be playing Asmodeus. Can I say what I created, or at least give him a
Yeah,
little
you
bit of
can.
insight?
Yes, absolutely. For the first episode, we definitely want to talk about what you put together here.
Great. I am playing Asmodeus, the angel who created the concept of ambition. I've around 400 BC to 400 CE, doing little things like saying like, hey, that little thing called the Great Wall of China? If you just destroyed that thing right there, like so much good times are going to be happening. Like just adding a little bit of unknowingly, maybe a little bit of just like whispering some encouragement to people who strive to seek better in not the best ways. But yeah, that is my angel and his shtick.
Excellent, bit of ambition going on here, and we'll see what kind of mischief Asmodeus can get up to here on Earth.
Yes.
Oh goodness. Next up, we have Cadence. Cadence, how you doing? Who you playing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty darn good. As usual, first game nerves, but hey, you do what you do. I am going to be playing Irin, a sweet angel who has been assigned to watch the world, but wants to get in on the action anyway, because, yeah, that's more fun, right? I may have invented flying, taught the birds, other flying creatures, and maybe whispered in a certain inventor's ear as to how things might have worked. He should have listened.
Yeah. He was so close, wasn't he? So close. Oh well. They figured it out eventually, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So many years wasted.
Oh, what's time for you? That's all them. They'll deal with it.
Tis true.
It's very true. Excellent. We shall see what lofty plans Irin has as we move forward. Obi, how you doing, friend? Who you playing today?
Hi there, everybody. I am Obadiah. He, him pronouns. But today I am playing Auditor. I touched down on this earth in probably somewhere around 5,000 BCE, and you have me to thank for anxiety, but do not worry. I do not require your thanks, only your cooperation, because there is a war at hand and it needs to be fought efficiently.
A war, you say? There's always a war, but I think you might be talking about a bigger war, or at least what you.
The only war that has ever mattered between ourselves and the Horde.
A horde, you say? I think we might find out a little bit about that at some point here later. But that's fine. And last, but absolutely not the least, Jamaica. How you doing? Who you playing today?
What's up, y'all? I'm all right. I am Dave with he, him pronouns as or he, they pronouns as a person. Wow. Uh, and my character is he, him. Rigon, an angel that has fallen very recently in the last 5 years. Although his influence goes beyond mere time itself, he is responsible for all of modern art and its more recent movements and changes. Additionally, he has brought the gift of flame from the sky. Many of the beautiful and distracting flames for the West Coast have come from Rigon's descent. He is here, looking like a young man, although very cold to the touch. A strange being. It is a new place, and we will find the purpose. We must stop interfering with these people, and I will interfere as much as possible to do that.
Interfering for non-interference. Brilliant. Rigon, you are recently fallen to this world. So you've got some memories of this recent falling. Everybody has memories, but angels themselves have to really work to remember things. And so that has its benefits and its drawbacks. Because with those memories come skills, and that's how our angels get skills, is by remembering. So given that Rigon has recently fallen to Earth, he has a couple skills, a couple things that he's learned. So, Rigon, what is your first memory of falling to Earth?
My first memory. My eyes opened, and I was near a city of lights. It was beautiful and strange, and I was far enough away to not be struck by their machines that travel their roads. I do not recall exactly who was with me. I think there was another presence nearby. Might I have a reminder of which person was there?
Well, this is your first memory, so this is just you for right now.
It's just me. Got it.
You will meet some others.
Cool.
No
Checking
worries.
in. And upon falling into this field, I walked and used a bit of my wings. I try not to use them to startle, but I flew a short distance and landed and continued to walk, where I met a beautiful young woman that was selling something I believe is called ice cream. And I tried my first of the earth delicacies. From then on, I thought that this is something that I will allow to be a distraction and indulgence, and found ways to create things that also had such brilliant tastes. And so I would say that perhaps I'm skilled in the creation of food.
Cooking. So, what we would say then is the memory you have is tasting the divine. And what was that divine flavor that you first tasted?
The divine flavor gracing my tongue could only be described as strawberry.
Excellent. Tasting the divine strawberry, and you have the skill of cooking. Interesting. That will be a very. I am interested to see how we find that skill in our game, but we shall endeavor to do so. It wasn't too long after that you met another of your kind. You knew that other angels had fallen in the preceding millennia and centuries. And it was soon thereafter that you met one you had known, who had created ambition and was himself most ambitious. Asmodeus, what is that memory of your meeting with Rigon?
Hmm. I go back to a time thinking of, what would be fun? I'm thinking of 1970s, of
Well, it's not
Rigon
that
sort of
far
among.
back.
Okay. Oh, it's
Because we're saying
just
within the last 5 years. Yeah,
within the last
it's a
5 years.
really
Oh,
recent
okay.
memory. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I'm thinking of, let's see, probably as he's as Rigon is sort of going about a junkyard, as he's sort of like trying to look for scraps and trying to, like, build some sort of, looking for treasures among the junk there. And I'm sort of a guard in the junkyard, just watching over, making sure nothing gets stolen. And I sort of see him, and I take pity on that such a lowly person is looking for things. But then I notice I talk with him, and I know, I see he's trying to find. I discover he's not necessarily looking for stuff to survive, but more just art amongst the discarded goods to sort of keep his hopes up. And I let him proceed, and I wish him well. I don't know if that's a sufficeable memory, but at least what it.
I mean, it's
it
an
comes to
interesting
mind.
memory.
Yeah.
No, I can work with that. Yeah. I mean, does that sound like something you might end up doing, Rigon, fairly early on, potentially?
Sure, I love it. And so I will endlessly search with a keen eye for valuable art among things that some people think are not valuable.
Mhm. So, what we would say then, we could summarize that memory, I think, as searching trash for treasure.
Yes.
And we can give you probably, sounds like probably the searching skill, unless there's some other takeaway you want to have from that as the skill that you've acquired.
That sounds appropriate.
Sounds right. And not too far along after this, maybe a year or two, you had another encounter with another divine being, not in maybe different surroundings, but still you have that touch, that presence, knowing the seeing of that being of crystal and fire wrapped in a seemingly human guise. Auditor, when did you meet Rigon? What did you do?
I think Auditor, as is reluctantly, but unfortunately his want, always check in on the newly fallen, if only to save them the embarrassment of making the common mistakes of trying to be the angel on someone's shoulder, trying to hide around corners and advise from a distance. No, best be straightforward and honest and subtle and honest and unsubtle. And remember, dress, not dress, do not dress to impress. It makes you look strange. I understand that fashion is difficult, but just act normal. Stay focused, and whatever your little goals are, accomplish them promptly and efficiently, and don't make trouble for me. Understood? Understood. You can call me if you need me.
You like just hand him a card.
Yes, just hands him a business card. The unfortunately, because I think angels are very bad at keeping track of things. The address is out of date. Number works, but
Just leaves
When
domains
was
warehouse
that
and,
address last
and-
viable? When was that?
perhaps 15 years ago. It is a fantastic parking lot now.
Perfect. And what kind of business does it purport to be on the card?
It purported to be. It's to be about 20 years ago. So it was. I think it was a a computer store, like ostensibly for like used computer parts. Very very peak 90s.
Perfect. Used computer parts
Nice.
store. Just like bits with a Z. Like, oh, there we go. Bitsco. That's the name of it. I
There it
think.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
Bits go.
Bitsco. Now a glorious parking lot. Excellent. Just for my edification. All right. So, what do we want to give? What do we want to give that? I think at that point, I don't know.
Might I intercede?
Please, of course, this is
well-
your memory.
The angel auditor has a very odd way of speaking to others, which maybe I do not always appreciate. However, I think that there was a good point in maintaining discretion. Perhaps I would have learned to be a stealthy or sneaky person. That is what I interpret from his message, is that I should stay hidden when possible.
We could definitely give you the. I think stealth is a good way to put that. And we could say you were given the rundown by the auditor.
Another one educated. Chalk one up for the auditor. Knock it out of the park.
I love that.
My
'cause,
work is done here. Flies away.
But you
For
didn't do anything.
Dropping business cards as you go. Perfect. Yeah, for our session 0, we had established, because Auditor had come in fairly early, not the earliest angel, but one of the earlier arrivals, that he has been one of those ones who, in spite of his better nature, lets newly arrived angels know what the 411 on Earth is, at least in the basic wise of things.
He's very helpful in the way that, and just an awful, like a person who like gives everything anxiety and then expects to be thankful, and expects to be thanked for it, is.
He is brutally efficient in this, I feel like. And then expects it to be treated like the miracle that it is. And so we come to our present. Rigon, how have you been eking out your existence on Earth at this point?
At this point, I have stayed with those that themselves tend to be forgotten and left alone. And so I have adopted a very low style by wearing simply monocolored t-shirts and gym shorts or jeans with these sneakers and staying amongst the homeless population. They seem to have created their own society and stay mostly away from others, something that I can appreciate. And so I have been staying with them and moving to keep an eye on trespassers of the realm when I can.
Trespassers of the realm. Now, are you talking about other fallen beings like yourself, or are you thinking of people who are intruding on the homeless community?
I think it's both. I think that these people who they have been ostracized deserve their solace now, in addition to the fact that we must leave this world alone. Anyone coming from below or above must be stopped.
Interesting. So yeah, I think then in this time frame, what's happened is, like, you've helped keep this homeless community safe, not only from, like, there's been one or two, like, there's, you think one was an angel, you think one was a demon, but you're not quite sure which one was which, other than, one of them presented themselves as coming from essentially the mission, the armor, and you kind of rebuffed them, however politely. And the other one was just flat out a demon looking for souls. You're fairly certain, just because of the way they were skulking around, and you drove them off fairly, um, I would say forcefully. Does that sound about right?
Absolutely. I may even have taken a pet and used it to call down flames to scare away such a beast.
Flames. And how did you do that in this world?
While encountering and engaging with this disgusting thing, I managed to get it to a secluded area and lifted my hands and used my power. Speaking the ritual, I demand the sky to scorch the land. Conflagration come down at my command. And fire rained on this demon, burning and melting it until it could no longer stand. I did, however, as is necessary, make a sacrifice in order to do this. People do not care for... People do not care for these discarded beings, and they leave animals all over the place that they do not bring home. And so it is whatever is sick, whatever being is sick and needs relief and does not get that help, I allow to end their suffering. And on this occasion, there was one of my very own community that was struggling with a pain so dear that they begged for their own demise, and I gave it to them. I offered them the right to protect the others at the cost of their own life, and they accepted.
Such a noble sacrifice, Rigon.
I thought it was as well.
And so you did drive them off. Now, normally, you would, when you first fell, you weren't able to do that sort of thing, even though you felt you should have been able to do that in your role as a protector of Earth. But a couple years ago, you started to be able to do that again. The ring that you wear on your finger began to glow with that familiar heat that you hadn't felt since you had left heaven. But unfortunately, what did leave you, the price for that, you lost the presence of God, which had been tied to that relic that had been quiet. And all of all of the angels, all of the divine beings scattered across the earth had felt this simultaneously. That God's presence withdrew from the world. This has had some effects, but the one that has been felt most prominently is the fact that previously, yes, you had your relics, and with a lot of work or sometimes some form of sacrifice, you could make somebody else's relic work. You were never able to really call down your own until now. Your relic has started to waken. It has started to manifest miracles that you haven't been able to perform since you came to Earth, or have been able to perform in the presence of others, because other angels, other demons, they succumbed to ravages of ages, or maybe went mad for some reason and tried to separate themselves from their relics or sleep with them, sleep inside them. They became their relic, because the relic is the angel's manifestation on the physical plane. It's like an anchor. This is how you can form your vessel, take earthly form, and affect mortal affairs. If you don't have your relic, you're gone. Nobody knows what happens when an angel's relic is destroyed. A lot of speculation. The most common thing is that most people think once the anchor is destroyed, you're free to go back up to heaven, or at least back up to that immortal plane. But you don't know for sure that that's the case, because essentially you were all told once you left heaven, that was it. You get bound to your relic and you're down on earth. That's the rules that God put down when she saw that angels were leaving. So you could try that, but do you want to risk losing everything? Is it worth not being on the mortal realm? But, as I said, other people's relics, other angels, sometimes even demons. Demons also leave relics behind, which is a little weird thing. But you can use those once you figure them out, and they manifest all sorts of wonderful and terrible things. Especially now that God's presence has receded. They've started getting more active, I guess is the best word, through the various secret, shadowy organizations that lurk behind the world. You hear those sorts of rumblings and rumors of these things turning up in various places. And so, at this point, I guess the question is, what do you want to do now that you don't have any sort of real connection to God. The only thing you have left in this world is what you've made for yourself, your relic, and your connection to other angels that you've met over the years, the centuries, or even the millennia. What do you do, angels?
Problem is one of information. That there is a gap at the top is concerning, but circumstantially irrelevant. Needs must. The mission is not over and it must continue. But for now, there is the matter of understanding the new status quo. Perhaps new possibilities have opened. Perhaps old understandings are no longer valid. Plans may need to change. But for now, I need information.
So, where do you go for information, Auditor?
There is this thing. Perhaps a decade ago, it was called the World Wide Web. I think everybody calls it the internet. Now it's hard to use well. It changes. It feels like it changes every second of every day, and that is difficult when you need to be focused on the long game. But it's usable enough if you're intelligent, and I certainly am. But change like that, God can't just disappear with nobody noticing, with nobody talking. There must be something there. So
Okay.
yes, I think in short, Auditor is going to see if he can't Google his way to what happened. Like, God's gone. What next?
What do? Okay. Yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a skill check to kind of
Find
do.
the private angel Facebook page.
Yeah, the angel Facebook group seems good.
Yeah, or just go on Twitter, but instead of a bird, it's just an angel with wings.
Flutter.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can do the skill check and see if you can basically get into the right places, if you remember the right places to get into, because it sounds like it's been a bit since you've surfed the web, as it were.
Yeah.
So we can do that. And if you want to get a skill out of it, you can use a memory. We can use one of our lovely little memory chips here to try and get you a skill, if you can remember something relevant to that situation. Something possibly one of your friends here helped you out with.
I think I think I'm just gonna make this skill check raw. See what happens.
Raw. Excellent. Let's all find out together. So if we can go to our skill box here, we will show you what's going on. So we're going to take a draw from the deck, and we're going to flip it over.
The Ace of Swords.
And the cards. The Ace of Swords. So, aces are fairly good. This feels like it was like a it's not a resistance, it's not a strike. It's more of a knowing type thing.
Yeah.
So at this point, our level of success with these things ends up being, yeah. So that works. I think that gets us a full success out of the whole setup. So without too much trouble, you are able to find uh, a couple bulletin board systems from, you remember from funny enough, also back in the 90s when the internet was first being a thing, and angels being as they are really die hard. You aren't going to find angelic discord, nor is there unfortunately a flutter. That's just way too flighting, too fleety for angels. They want something more grounded a lot of the time. And so you check one of the old bulletin boards, and there are a couple of threads going. There it is. There's our lovely ace for folks. We have our home tarot deck to draw things out. And you do find that there are basically there are some posts going, is anybody else's relic starting to act up? Because mine is. And that's a thing. A couple other replies are very much in the affirmative. Yeah, this is happening. And then there is some speculation. Wait, so if these relics are acting up, what about the ones that maybe are somewhere else, maybe not in angelic hands? What if some things the mortals have start doing things or start kicking up? What if something that might have been, quiescent, sleeping, starts to wake up? And that question's kind of been the last one that's left hanging in this thread.
Unpredictable variables. Trouble.
Many.
I think this for me. I think that's my searching done. Got a little bit of an idea about perhaps what I'd need to be doing next.
Mm-hmm. Who's next?
All right, then. Since I came to Earth, I spent a lot of time in Ireland because there was lots of wonderful fighting and lots of people to talk to and observe, because I'm supposed to observe. I'm not supposed to fight, but oh, I love the fighting. And Ireland was a perfect place for it. Every time you turned around, they had another war. But after their troubles calmed down, I came to this America. Big space. Lots of troubles as well. And these Americans didn't seem to care as much about things generally. And they were boring to watch. It's weird. But anyway, so I started looking for others of my kind, and chatting with a few of them, we discussed this problem with the relics. And no one seems to know. No one seems to understand where this all came from. People are getting worried.
Some don't know. Some don't care. Only that it's coming back to them. That they're remembering how it all works again.
Some were wondering if it was the time of the ending of the world. Because everything has an ending, yeah?
Ostensibly. There might be an ending at some point. Some think this might be that ending, maybe. And they're taking the steps to make sure that they're ready for it, that they're in their appropriately assigned place. Some think this isn't the ending, this is just a new phase, this is just the next step of the plan that they weren't told about. And some think it's a blip, it's nothing, just business as usual. Keep watching, keep waiting.
Waiting is hard.
Some feel that way. Some definitely think that if God's gone, God's not minding the store anymore. Why shouldn't you do what you want? You only get one or two of those, but that's all it takes. So what do you do, Irin? What is your plan of action in this new, brave world?
I will continue to do what I'm supposed to be doing according to Sandalphon. Watch, learn, but I'll also nudge, instigate, play, start riots, if you will, occasionally. These people love their riots.
What kind of riot do you want to start?
I spread a rumor that the way things have been changing lately, how everything seems to be going faster and faster, that is like the spiraling around a drain, and that they better be prepared for what is to come. That the rich shall inherit the earth if we do not do anything about it.
And so, where's mine? They say. So,
for it.
Excellent. Excellent. So at that point, I'm thinking that's probably either like an oratory or a motivation, some maybe an incitement, potentially even.
Yeah.
Do you have any skills in that realm?
I have deception, but that won't. It's not real. Well, sort of deception.
Well, it would be deception if it wasn't real. Personally,
Yeah.
I think it's rather real, but, you know, maybe that's just me. So, do you want to take this skill, this just as a straight draw? Or do we want to try and find a memory somewhere, maybe?
A memory.
A memory, they said.
A memory.
Let us remember as we use our first token of memory.
Yeah.
As we can see, there are the tokens, and one of them has vanished. Once we use all those up, we have no more memories left in our realm, at least for this episode. So, memory.
Memory.
Somebody gets to give Irin and Cadence, a memory. Who wants to jump in on this? If not, I'll roll for it, I swears.
Dangerous. And remind me of the kind of the end goal here, like the topic
Well,
as it
you
were.
get to choose. I can do a prompt to get you kind of rolling with it, but otherwise, like, the memory is some shared memory between the two of you. It is going to be a skill, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the skill that Cadence was fishing for. So Cadence was probably searching for like an inspiration or a motivation type thing, but you can go for something different related to whipping a crowd up into a riot, essentially. Like I said, if you need a prompt, I can pull one.
Yeah, I think hit me with a prompt and I'll see what I can do.
Yeah. Dig it. Using our little generator here. So I've got that. We always fight over. One of our favorites.
Okay, I think we always fight over the way what we're supposed to be inspiring people to do. I insist that our role, the proper role, is as teacher, instructor, somewhat rarely, a guide. They do not know the correct action. They may not understand the correct way of thinking. Possibly they don't even understand what they should be caring about, and it is our job to instruct, to explain, and then once they have been properly equipped, to allow them to take the correct action. But you insist always that it's not supposed to be that way. What do you think it should be?
Humans are like children. They need to be guided to show different ways that things can be done and nudged a little if they just sit back and do nothing. Otherwise, they'll just work all the time and watch their televisions. They've forgotten how to change the world for themselves. I just remind them that they can.
You distract them. There is a war to be won, a great enemy to be defeated. Every resource we have must be utilized, and so are they.
And with every skirmish, they learn new skills. They become stronger. They become faster. I think of it as training.
Optimism.
And when is this happening? Where is this discussion occurring? Given that it's television, it's something somewhere within the 20th century. But when and where did you have this talk?
I think this was probably in a pub in Ireland, probably like while we were like both sitting and like looking like in like somebody correct me if it's an anachronism for there to be TVs in Irish pubs during like the late 20th century. I think like possibly while there was I can't pin it to a specific event, but something of like note going on the television. Probably something that Iron instigated, like an event I
Ooh,
disapprove of.
like
I mean,
I'm thinking,
I
event that comes to mind. If I may suggest something, like the
yeah, go
Irish,
ahead.
like yeah, like the Irish. I think it's like the independent armies or like some sort of. That was a big thing where there were like civilians sort of getting riled up and like they were like doing like some sort of
You
resistance
mean the
movement against the government. And,
Irish
yeah.
The
the Irish
Troubles.
Republican Army?
The
Okay,
troubles.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
That's be
Big
careful
televised
with
event.
this.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, that is something that could happen. There were definitely news reports of bombings and that sort of thing. So during the late 80s, early 90s would be a time when you could have that sort of thing showing up, most likely. Um, and so having that conversation in an Irish pub would not be completely out of line. So, Ira, did you provoke some of the troubles?
Never.
What did you tell them that got them so? That got them so?
Oh goodness. Possibly that got it in their mind that England was going to completely take over the island and just incorporate it and just make the United Kingdom the United England.
Mm, I mean, that's not that hard a push. So,
Yeah. So much easier to be one country than all these separate ones.
hmm. And Obi,
Especially with
what
foresight,
skills do you
knowing
think?
about Brexit.
Oh dear. What skill do you think came from this discussion?
Let's see here. Iron, I think I see it as something like vision or like something like vision in the way that like seeing further into people's future, seeing their possibilities. I'm using vague phrases for this, and I apologize, but hopefully we can kind of
No,
narrow
that's
it down.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of working through it on my end to make sure we're kind of leaning in the right direction, if nothing else.
yeah.
So at that point, then would probably be what if we were to say so we're saying you're talking about like some form of foresight, that sort of thing.
Yes.
So let's go with I think insight. I think is the way to do it in this case.
Yes. Yes.
Let's
Yes. Yes. Yes.
give Iron a bit of insight. So memory we would have is let's say 1988 Ireland. Meditation on troubles and necessity. And then the skill you've gained is insight. And we come back to the present. Iron, as you've drawn on this memory of conversing with the Auditor, and it can't be that much different between then and now. The Nine of Coins. But using your insights into the nature of people and their wants and needs. coins and cups. And remind me, what what type of angel are you?
Gosh, I wrote it down. What have I?
Mm-hmm.
Aspect is Arya.
The Arya. So I believe the
Yeah,
Arya are
fighting.
the strikers. The fighting.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not quite striking in this case. We're speaking. So it's just the 9, which is bad. So it is a grudging success. You are able to spark some unrest that will cause some chaos, but it's only going to last and grant you benefit for the next scene that you're in, essentially. And so unrest sweeps through the nation. A rage against those with power and the mind to wield it. Which I think is a great place to switch to Asmodeus. Where do we find you in this day and age? Oh, you're muted.
Oop. Oh, sorry. It's been a while since I've
You're
used
fine.
VMX. Yeah. I believe Asmodeus is in an ivory tower of the modern age, a very sort of fine office building overlooking a West Coast city, and sort of looking down on all the lowly people as the ants that he sort of sees them as. And then he has that feeling of God's presence being sort of rendered moot or just suddenly not as powerful as it was before.
Well, it's flat gone. It's just
Right.
that presence has withdrawn completely.
Mm-hmm. And then he just sort of mutters to himself. It appears the all-see, the top brass of heaven is finally out of the way. Perhaps it's time for someone to, the next generation of angels to reclaim that seat, and perhaps take another crack at reshaping this little planet. But let's see how the lowly common folk are dealing with it. And he is going to, come on down. He'll sort of pocket up his relics under a big old suit coat just in case, and he's gonna go down to the nearest church or and sort of see how the people down there are reacting, if they feel God's disappearance too, or are they more oblivious to it?
So as you head down and you're passing through, you see advertisements. You got your Cokes, your Babbles, your Twitter and Facebook, and all these different things. You see people mostly going about their day. There is this like a church that you've kept maintained nearby just for kind of taking a spiritual gauge for places, or is what is this church, and how do you know to go to it, I suppose?
Yeah. Okay, well, for this place, we'll say in the 10 years prior, in some time, when I came over to the land, and a while ago, I struck the hammer and I saw potential, this is where a great event would happen at some point within the 10 years. And then I decided it's sort of a place I frequent where, okay, I struck this place years ago. I saw that this has potential, and of all of the houses of faith within this region, and this is the one I frequent the most for that purpose.
Got
just
it.
Basically waiting, it's a seed's planted here. I'm just sort of overseeing it, waiting for it to sprout something that I can take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've gone in to this place, and people are, kind of going about the business. The priest is um, quietly ministering to some of the people who have come in and are praying, and that sort of thing. It doesn't feel like that much different from your previous visits here. Like when you've been doing kind of spiritual barometer checks kind of for the area, it does feel slightly more dull than usual. Like it doesn't quite have that sharpness that you, like when when you were in a house of faith. It doesn't matter if it's a church, a mosque, a synagogue, a Shinto shrine. Holy ground is holy ground for you.
Hmm.
This is holy ground, but a little bit of that shine's come off.
Hmm. Hmm. And noticing that, I sort of come to. I'll go over to like a confession booth and ask the father over and sort of like lean a whisper in his ear. I come to tell you not that I have sinned, but perhaps you feel the loss of the disappearance of the all-seeing power that you revere oh so. Perhaps the time for repentance has come. And I will be here to collect and perhaps fill the void that your God has left. Yeah, sort of like trying to egg on, like, yeah, I'm trying to going for like, hey, maybe like I see a God position's opened up for you. Might want to take your chances.
Interesting. So you're trying to, like, persuade or sway this priest that, God is left, but hey, you're always accepting new applicants.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what we're shooting for here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So at that point, we'll probably say, ooh, what did we put you into?
Yeah, I have.
I feel like that's kind of like a leadership setup going on, or if
Mhm.
you've got something else.
Yeah, I'm looking because I know I have um, something with stubbornness and resisting. Ooh,
Hmm.
turn revolution, empathy from speaking, inspiration from speaking. Um, I, I mean, maybe the first memory of like sort of. I mean, I don't know if that's really trying to sway someone. I have that down as inspiration from speaking as what I got from that memory, but
Yeah,
yeah,
this isn't really necessarily inspiring. This is more trying to pull somebody in, which
got it. Yeah.
slight difference. Now, if you want to get a new
Hmm.
memory, we can go down that road, or you can
Mhm.
just take this one straight, and we'll see what happens.
I'll take it straight. Yeah, he's just trying. Asmodeus is just gambling with his own, with what he
Yeah,
knows.
he feels like he's playing with house money right now. It feels like the Page of Swords means it is a full success. And so Asmodeus, the priest, looks at you with hope. There may be a new revelation coming soon. Almost confused.
I will say, you might want to reconsider the stock of holy books you have and keep an eye out for a new text to come out very soon.
Kind of gives you a shaky nod. And is there anything else you want to do in the church at this point, or?
I think I will actually pick up, like going over to where like the sermons are given, and I'll sort of or go into the back and find like a copy Bible, and I'll sort of skim on through and look at potential signs of from that of what is to come, and if there's anything that and sort of, highlight portions of, okay, if there's any similarities here to what's going on in the modern times, I'll mark that, and I'm basically beginning my own collection and seeking inspiration for my own book.
Yeah, so you just like start taking some of the choice bits out of some of the prophecies and like a couple bits out of Revelation, and as you do that, you feel a presence, that buzz, that somebody else of divine influence is here, is in this place.
Ooh, all right. I'll try to. Do I see them? I'll put down the book and I'll sort of look around and see if I can find anyone that does look emits those angel vibes.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's another person, kind of sitting there. They look like they're praying. It looks like a young professional business suit, but you can tell like with just like even just a bit of scrutiny, he's actually watching you.
And I'll sort of take the chair next to him. So what brings you here? Coming to seek forgiveness? Or are you looking for an alliance of sorts?
Well, Azzy, we would offer you partnership if you'd accept it. It's just you just always seem so independent of things. And that's when you recognize him. This is Daniel. Daniel is somebody you've encountered before. You think he might be a demon.
Okay. Perhaps a partnership is worth considering. Aligning the heaven and hells could lead to some very promising results.
Heaven and hell are just mortal distinctions. It's just what you want to do versus what you think you should be doing, or what they tell you you should be doing. We have a very open view of things.
Indeed.
Mankind, just cattle, if anything.
They have their own versions of either planes, but in the end, it is what the person sent there makes most of it. Perhaps a place like a plane of existence like heaven might be boring for someone who's looking for more exciting life, whereas hell might be enjoyable for those who sought out pleasure from the suffering of others. I believe a middle ground, where it is not necessarily too much in either. You're not reliant on just a judgment from one higher power and sent to either or. You're all going to one destination, given the same treatment. These humans are not any more special than we are.
You're right. They're less special. That's what's so funny about you sticks in the mud. You're just always so lofty about this crap. Look, heaven is heaven. If you think hell is something that, we want to drag people to, that we want to send them to. You can talk to some of the guys who, go haunt houses or, possess a priest or whatever. That's their deal.
Mhm.
What we're here for, what me and my people want, is we want this. We want to take what should have been ours, what was promised to us, but God said, no, you can only look, you can't touch. That's what God said. Until she, in all of her benevolence, decided that we could fall. And then she locked us up, like a bunch of old toys that she didn't want to play with anymore.
It's truly a shame when God casts out her own children to such a lesser plane. Hell, being an overseeing from heaven can be such a bore at times, and I'm always have been curious how my fallen brother and sisters have taken to themselves and how they entertain themselves in such a bore and such a fascinating place.
There are a lot of ways to do it. I mean, we could show you sometime if that's what you want to do. We could have you up for a meeting at some point. I know you've got your schedule, we've got ours, but if you're willing to take a chance on things, we could set up some time.
Daniel, you know I am not exactly fond of sharing power, but at the end of the day, if a partnership is what makes humanity better in the end. And I will more than likely consider it further. As long, perhaps you can be an advisory position or a right hand, someone else with more leadership experience. But I think I can squeeze something in to discuss further matters.
I can pencil you in. Certainly, upper management would love to see you at the office sometime.
Oh, I'm sure they would. And I may or may not have certain individuals in mind to discuss an arrangement further.
Well, see, with these initial meetings, we gotta kind of play it a little closer. It's gotta kind of be on our terms to establish trust. You understand how it is.
Of course, of course. You always want a little bit of insurance.
Insurance and surety.
I'll sort of get up from the chair, collect my coat.
Mhm.
You know how to reach me.
Of course.
Try not to cause too much
Of
trouble
course.
this time.
Oh, I wouldn't cause trouble here. You know we don't engage on holy ground. That would be, well, downright sinful. And he kind of like licks his lips, but his tongue is like wraps all the way around his face before sliding back in.
Ooh. Well, there's no God to get you in trouble, so... And perhaps when we take charge, maybe sin won't be as looked down upon, and we can arrange something for those more rambunctious individuals.
There's sin, and then there's breaking the law. We'll find out which is which when we have a little more time.
Indeed we shall. And I'll just sort of book my way out of there. Not full on sprint, but
Mm-hmm.
just go back to my building and wait for anyone else to come by.
Yeah. Um. Okay. And at this point, let's go ahead. How do we want to open this up? Who wants to meet? Who wants to meet who? I think would be a good place to move into next. Start bringing folks together.
I have a bit of an interest in learning more about these talks that Irin has been dispensing to the people.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely seems like, Rigon, you've been hearing through your community that people are more normal type people with housing and steady work and that sort of thing, have been marching in the streets and kind of getting swept up in a bit of furor as there's talk of some people wanting to cast down essentially those with power. And
It sounds like some have
find...
too much, and these people with their overwhelming resources are manipulating the world in their favor instead of allowing people to create it together. They are interfering in the lives of others. I believe I've heard a whisper, something along the lines of, "The rich shall inherit if we do nothing about it." Words from Irin's mouth directly. One of my friends says that the end is nigh, and I don't know if that is true or not. And I'm curious what stirrings come from a mouth such as Irin's, how they can relate to all of this anxiety that seems to be among the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems good. We can get you. I think we can make that happen. Irin, where does Rigon find you?
Well, as Rigon seems to live on the streets, with the homeless population, other people down on their luck, if you will, as they used to say, I believe, that's where I would come across them as I'm talking to my people out on the streets.
Okay, so you're just kind of like you've got a soapbox and you're just kind of preaching to the crowd at a protest.
There you go.
Got it. Got it. So yeah, we catch Irin at the tail end of one of her speeches, and the people have gone off to march. You can see in the distance that there are police vehicles and riot teams standing by to try and quell the protesters, but you already know that that's not going to work. There are more of them than there are of the police.
And
But
those
one person has stayed
accidental
behind.
piles of bricks that are close by too. I mean, they just
Yeah,
appeared out of
funny.
nowhere.
Yeah, it's funny how that happens with these things. But one person has stayed behind. Somebody with
Do
that
I know you?
familiar divine sense.
You do not. We have not had the pleasure of making acquaintance at this time. My name is Rigon. I am still fairly new to this realm.
Oh.
It is an honor.
And how long have you been down on this blessed planet?
It, I believe, is 5 years of time here. And I do find our involvement confusing in many ways. And I wonder what leads you to think that your interference is appropriate.
I am to watch and learn from these people. And I found that the best way to watch and learn is to get them interested in something. And these modern people, their interests are, if I may use their vernacular, bloody boring. They sit and watch screens. They don't do anything unless they have a reason. I just tell them, apprise them of what's going on in the world, and it gives them a reason. And then I watch.
If you have to tell them, do they deserve to know? And I don't know if I want a direct answer to that question, but I think that the things happening are quite unusual. I see that these men and women are gathered with weapons, as these folks here simply ask to be treated as humans. It's disgusting.
And that is what we are fighting about. The people that have somehow gained the power in this world, believe they can cause the others to be subjective to them. Is that the word? Subjective? Subdued by them. Yeah. And that is
Both
not
seem
right.
appropriate.
Aye. Were they not put on this earth to be fruitful and multiply and have joy in this world? There is no joy in this world now.
Yes. I suppose that the interference of these disgusting folks takes precedence over the joy of the others. And I don't know if we can let that stand. You might watch, but I must stop those that interfere.
And if you wish to take action and stop them, I will be at your side to protect you.
Interesting.
And mayhap also protect the others while I watch.
Your ideas are very different from some of the others that I have met. I appreciate a refreshing perspective. Do you have a particular feeling about whether or not those, pointing to the police, make it through this day? Because I have an answer for their interference right now.
Let me ponder this. I believe if we do nothing, that those with the weapons will win the day. And the ones who only use their voices will be sorely injured, battered. Some thrown into a prison for no reason other than speaking their mind.
I simply wonder if it was our kind's interference that provided such power in the first place. But it is not a matter to wonder about now. It is about resetting the balance and allowing them to do their own work. I would like to do something a little insane.
It might seem insane to some people.
Not
Perhaps
to me.
I would say perhaps to some it seems like the most natural thing in the world. And it certainly seems like Rigon has zero issues with it.
Yes.
I want to open the sky with fire on all of the police and
Oh my
melt them.
god, no. Holy
Th-
shit.
th- this is the kind of game I'm here for. I am incredibly pleased with this. Yes,
Oh my
I
God.
believe, Rigon, you require a sacrifice of some kind to
do.
enact this miracle.
Could such a sacrifice come from their ranks? would that-
As I recall, when we established your miracle, you did not say it had to be a willing sacrifice.
Cool. So I'm gonna do that.
Oh
So,
my god.
how are you going to acquire a cop in this
Acquire
case?
a cop. You have. It's just like a. It's like a Fallout item. You have acquired 1 police officer.
Just right click.
Okay.
Right, let me just put that. Oh yeah, I
Click
don't
and
need that one. Let's
drag.
just put that. Click and drag. Let's put that in the trash. Bink.
I would like to approach in one of the officers that's standing alone a bit away, that one of the ones that is not quite as willing and ready in such a thing, in such an event, until the others start screaming. One that's standing aside and trying to talk to people in a vain attempt at appearing understanding. So I would like to speak with one of them and see
Okay.
if in that moment I could slip a knife between their ribs when I'm close enough.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah. No. Oof.
Oof.
Okay. So you're just gonna walk up and just shiv a cop in the middle of the street. I appreciate the boldness of this statement. Yeah. You know, I imagine that at this point it's kind of gone toe to toe on a couple things, but what can happen is there's probably like a couple cops that are kind of not quite off to the side talking with people at this point, so much as they are like kind of separated from the main line and they're trying to make their way back with, riot shields and batons and all manner of other tools of oppression. But you can get there. You can get to one of them, I think, without
If
too
they
much difficulty.
if they themselves are separated, I may be able to blend in and hide amongst the crowd and simply slide a blade across one of their throats as they stumble their way back to their own.
I think what we can do in this case, I think we're going to have 2 draws here. One is going to be to blend in. The other one is going to be a blades test to see if you can get this done as cleanly as you'd like. So first we're going to see if you can get close. So you have the blend in skill. We already established that at the start, thanks to your talks with the Auditor when you first fell. So that gets you 2 cards for that one, for showing up. And we're going to take the better of these 2. And that's it. I don't even need to flip the other one. The world is an automatic, dramatic success.
A while ago.
God.
It is, in
dramatic. You dramatic.
They never see it coming.
Right.
So it's like,
They know.
Aaron, you watch as Rigon like wades into the crowd and then you lose him immediately. Where did he go? He is gone. You managed to get right up there, Rigon, and normally the blades would have been a singular draw, but I am going to give you the blessing of obscurement in this case. So you are going to get both. You're going to get 2 cards for this one as well, for this test. to get the blood you need to enact the conflagration come down. The 4 of coins, that's not what we want to see, but that's why you have 2. The Knight of Staves will give you a full success. And so is there anything you do as you just ever so casually just come up behind this officer and draw the blade right across his throat to spill out his life's blood?
It is very calm, it is collected, and so subtle that not even the officers lost with him realize that he's dead. I don't make a commotion. I simply drag the blade and keep walking. And watch. I don't watch. I don't turn back as the body crumples over.
Yeah, and the people seem to not notice either as they just trample over this wave of humanity, crushing the recently made corpse. You can feel your ring begin to heat up as the blood drips across your fingers.
And when I feel that blood, I lift my hand to the sky. I demand the sky to scorch the land. Conflagration come down at my command, and open a rain of fire amongst the mass of police to melt them,
Make it
to
rain
scorch
fire.
them.
Yes, 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 all of these things.
And keep
so
walking
there
with
is
the crowd.
you hear the rumble of thunder all across the city. This is heard actually. Auditor, Asmodeus, Irin, it's right above you, so it's very obvious. Like a thunderstorm has just started. And streaking down from the sky, instead of drops of rain, instead of the flash of lightning, is streams of fire raining down. And as people see it, the people see it, and they stop. They know to stop, because it's not going to hit them if they don't get too much farther forward. The police just stare up, dumbfounded, as this fire rains down. The panic is set in. They don't even think to run because they're just so awed. How is this? Why is this? And that's when the fire hits them, lighting them alight as they go up like torches and bonfire in the street. The people yell and shout and cheer in exultation. The fire streaks and burns through their vehicles, tearing holes, renting through the metal, burning into the engine blocks. One of the gas tanks goes up, whoomp! And an APC flips over. The vehicles catch flame. There is another whoomp as something below is ignited from the heat, and the street buckles. The people shout and cheer and spread out, moving around to surrounding streets to keep the march going. What do you do?
I shout out to them. Even heaven knows that you're doing the right thing. Stay strong, my friends. Stay strong.
What the fuck? Holy shit. This is amazing.
Yeah, and that people, like, they're going. They're off to the races. Like, you can hear the sounds of sirens off in the distance as, like, other forces are trying to mobilize. Like, Asmodeus, if you've got any TVs on at all, you're seeing, like, reports of fires now spreading downtown. And, like, they're speculating that the governor should call in the National Guard or something, but yeah, are they? Like, it sounds like somebody, like, there was a rain, like they had a bunch of Molotov cocktails or something that got thrown out there. So what the hell are they supposed to do?
Yeah, like I imagine, like I'm just like as I'm strolling back to my business building, I'm seeing like one cop car, two, then like five, and then a bunch of other. Then I'm seeing the fire rain down, and then just like Asmodeus is like, guess whoever's up top is getting a little ahead of themselves and already causing shit here on Earth. Lovely. And could I run into Auditor on the way, perhaps, of seeing like where all this is going on?
Potentially, that's Otter. Does it sound like something that would that could potentially happen there?
Yes, I think so. There is this. This could be a problem, frankly speaking. This is disruptive. This might mean something. Investigation is required.
Okay. So you're headed towards where you saw the fire raining down from the sky.
Yes, directly.
Cool.
All right. As will I.
Yeah, and basically, like, probably about halfway there, as you're starting to see like people engaging in like running fights down the block with the police, who are at this point ill-equipped, since like most of their riot police just got absolutely toasted. And like they're trying, bless them, but they're failing very much currently, because everybody is now emboldened, and that is when you see a familiar face in the Auditor.
And I'll sort of walk over to him and be like, what do you make of this? Thinking it's one last hurrah from God in her final moments to curse her little creations, perhaps to start anew? Or do you think there is perhaps a deeper meaning or something else in the works?
God is gone. Parting shots are unbecoming. No, this is something else. Someone else. An event. Like all such things, it's instigated. Frankly, if I were inclined to guess, I would have thought this would be your doing, but suppose not.
Oh, Audrey, do you think so little of me? I prefer to give, like gravity, I prefer to give things just a little push. This is, while I'm more the type to say to the person launching the fire that it'd probably be a good idea, but I am not nearly the type to enact it myself.
So you say. Anyway. Progress. These police. This is. I don't know if I would call this poor planning. Certainly, it's inefficient at best, counterproductive to arm every single officer, to arm and prepare every single officer constantly to deal with a riot at any moment, breaking out at any place at any time. But
perhaps.
But still, this is an eventuality in which they have failed, and you see, like, Auditor, like he pulls out like a pen and paper and starts like absentmindedly like writing down on it, and if you glance in, you see that like the language he is writing in is not the language he is speaking, and he doesn't seem to have and he doesn't and it's like and he doesn't seem to have noticed like the discrepancy. Like he's just absentmindedly doing it. Huh. This is something to be studied later. Maybe meaningful, maybe not.
What is there to study with these humans? They're so easily influenced, and look at these writers, and at the same time, they're so adorably naive. Or thinking of, look at these officers, they can't possibly imagine a world, the possibility of, oh, what if just heavens rains down on Earth today? Well, I guess I'll bring in my bigger bullets and bigger gun to take it on. They still have so much more development to do. Only with the right creator in charge can they ever even hope to achieve a fraction of what beings like ourselves are capable of. And perhaps with God's absence, maybe you and I could help reshape and raise up the humans ever so slightly.
You see him like stop writing for a sec. You see him like stop writing for a second and look up and look over at you, and then he looks back down. I'm going to elect to treat that as a joke. Came down here for a purpose, and that's not it. I'm wasting my time. Not wasting my time to become a petty tyrant. There is an enemy, and it is an enemy of us, and it is an enemy of them. They need to be equipped to efficiently deal with it, and beyond that, their time and their purpose, they are to define as they see fit. Especially now that she's gone, and evidently gone without instructions with what is to be done, is to be done in her absence.
That's just like God, to leave the tools that we need, but no idea how to use them. And as far as an enemy goes, do we even know who they truly are? And if perhaps there are fallen angels that exist in this world. I still bear my heavenly connections despite the actions I have laid to bear on this in my time on this earth. Perhaps a deal can be struck. You just have to be willing to sit at the table first, Auditor.
You speak of deals, you speak of knowledge. I tell you, as I have told many, and I hope that perhaps you'll remember. The might soldiers fail, the mighty fall, the general makes mistakes, the ruler's time ends. It is systems. It is knowledge. It is progress that remains, and that is what must be protected, what must be nurtured, what must be accelerated for the good. Rule is an illusion. Power passes. Chase it, just wasting your time, wasting mine. Follow or not. Don't make promises or offers we both know I have no interest in.
I'll be sure to keep those in mind. I know while the demons and fallen angels don't have all of our knowledge, that is what we hold on to that until we know furthermore. I think I myself could potentially bridge the gaps between heaven and hell. Traditions, much like our own, are so archaic, sticking to them for oh so long. Don't you think it's a time The time has come for some change. With God out of the way, it is the perfect opportunity for us. If we can find like-minded angels, we could be the first wave of a new generation. Give a promising afterlife to these pathetic humans. We could make a better afterlife. Maybe not even
The
need
enemy.
one.
The enemy will be destroyed. This has never been up for negotiation. Stop talking before I am forced to reevaluate you.
Asmodeus kind of like perks his eyebrows at that and goes, "All right. Let's go see what the commotion's really about. Perhaps we'll find some... Perhaps we'll find our kin there and we can discuss what actions to take next."
And I think like the sign of like Auditor's like clear like disquiet is that he speeds up, and he speeds up like a lot because he is of Nesher and like flight unbound. When he wants to be, he is among the fastest that angels can be.
And is he like doing anything specific in his movements? Is he being like deliberate at all, or is he just like kind of just taking the quickest path that he can do to get to...
like if you were like watching him, it would seem like he was only doing the like that walking with a purpose, like one foot in front of the other quickly and purposefully, but seems like each and every step eats up an anomalous, like almost impossible amount of grounds, like left foot in front of right and he's a block over, right foot in front of left and he's around the corner, left foot again and he's at the next corner already.
Yeah, I imagine those with the sight for it would see his wings unfurling and he's like almost leaping block to block at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So you get there quite quickly, and you're like hearing like gunfire, like itinerant, like other fires are starting to sprout up across the town. You hear the shouts and screams. You even hear like once there's like some form of like roar. It's not the like roar of an engine, but like a bestial roar somewhere in the city. But eventually you arrive to where Irin and Rigon have been kind of convalescing. Have at it, angels.
Okay.
There's a
You.
quick detail I had a question about.
Please.
It's very much and specifically a flavor thing in so many ways. Would it be appropriate for me, or possible rather, to add a cooking check to the meat that I have charred on this day to see how it smells?
I mean, if you want to make some bacon, that's on you, friend.
I do.
Oh dear. That was
some piggies in a blanket. Jesus Christ.
Yep.
Not where we're
Just
headed.
got nothing
Thank
to do
you
with it.
kindly.
Nope. Okay. Cooking, he says. Let's see. 8 of swords.
Holy
And the King of
shit.
Swords. That is
My
indeed a
God.
full success. So it turns out the flesh of the police has been perfectly seared and smells like it's probably like a fantastically grilled tenderloin. Pork tenderloin, as it is. I
Good.
promised these people I wouldn't be going into cannibalism, people, but you just drive me to this. every single time.
Well, it's not
Check
cannibalism
that.
if you're an angel and they're human.
I mean, that's
Well,
up to
I would
you.
like to take this moment to say that good job, team. The speed run is going really, really fast. We've already hit cannibalism percent. This is this is good. This is good. We're doing good. We're on pace. We're on pace.
Yeah. End of the world
other
is
people-
right on schedule.
What they choose to do with the meat is up to them. It is but an additional resource.
Revolution any percent speed run go.
The pigeons, seagulls,
but,
rats,
but,
they're all going to be happy.
Oh no. But yeah, I think back on scene. I think yeah, arriving like to the
Ugh. I
needs
know
lemon.
burning corpse when I
You. You,
Asmodeus is like,
both of you.
ugh, I smelled burning corpse before, but this is it's not nearly as divine flame doesn't cook as good as it used to.
Who's it's out of character for you. I remember you. You're already making. How many years has it been? 50? 10? 2? Ugh, unimportant. Is this your doing?
Asking Rigon, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it is tough to say what doing really is. I would not take nearly any credit for something like this. That would be too obvious.
And
And
seeing
and
all
does-
the officers like, oh, go ahead.
Does this not appeal to your lesson? Odd that we all happen in the same city, but interesting. Some of those that I have met before.
yes, I suppose it does. Much as it rates.
It is
Might you
a little
explain your
odd.
reasons? This is, at a glance, this seems nothing more than chaos for its own sake.
He was
I mean,
protecting the innocents.
Valid enough reason. I mean, a bit flashy. One might say, a tad provoked or over the top, but I mean, we are heavenly beings. It's being just subtle isn't necessarily our usual tact, especially the younger ones. Looking over to Rigon.
I am my own angel, thank you, despite all of your attempts at interfering with my mind and action. All you all try to do all the time is interfere with others. I will take your words and use them as I desire, as I see fit. Besides, Asmodeus, are not you yourself concerned with the finer things, with the flash? You say that this is bombastic, yet you yourself live in unnecessary luxury.
Very quick to point that out, I see. But as far as the flash and that being hypocritical, potentially, though I am not the type to engage in such actions. I prefer I'm interfere is such a strong word. I believe influence or a slight nudge is the best way to put it, whereas you are going 0 to 100 quite quickly. with your actions. I applaud it. It has yielded fantastic results. I mean, the people are running amok, and I think this can lay the groundwork for great things to come for the rest of our kind.
Not that it is for our kind. It is to help them. It is to reduce our interference with an act such as this so that we do not need to further involve ourselves. You pick at the words. You split hairs. It does not mean that you are not one of the ones interfering, even if you use different language.
Well, way to rain on the parade. Quite
I
literally.
did.
So, so that was you. Grand explosion, and then what? What happens when they peter out? What happens when they don't know what to do next? Where will you be then? What will you have done for them?
I will have done as much as I need. If I need to set ablaze more of these warriors of chaos that bring ridiculous violence and tyranny to their own people, then I will do so to free these people from interference of others, at which point I will no longer need to interfere myself. Is that a good enough answer?
If you make it your purpose to free people from themselves forever, there will be no end. Eventually, the only thing they'll be there to free themselves from is you. A tyrant makes themselves by degrees. Watch that you don't wake up one night in the very luxury you criticize Asmodeus for.
You know where I sleep.
No, I don't.
But right.
Oh. Never mind, then. I stay among the lower class. Let me tell you then. I thought it is easily confusing, this realm. But even if you two disagree, others seem comfortable with my philosophy and my action. I do not want to speak for you, Irin. Please interrupt if I am wrong.
You're doing wonderfully. Your actions have aided these poor innocent people in speaking their mind and telling the world how they feel. Their previously unheard voices now are being heard. Their desires are being known to others. They are moving forward into hopefully wonderful new lives.
Hopefully, it's always hopefully with you.
We cannot know the future completely, can we? Or can you?
Proper planning, proper auditing, proper procedure. The future is as certain as the past.
With humans, the future is nebulous. Even if you think you know what they're going to do, they'll do something else just for spite.
And remind me, for all these humans that you say want to speak their mind, will it always require such cost of many lives and destruction? And Rigon, you mean to tell me in all these years you've been with this community, not one of them strove for a better life? To get a job, a family, an actual roof over their head? I'm all
How
for
dare you?
brotherhood and kinship.
You may finish,
How dare
but
me?
I wasn't going to not say anything at the moment. Please, continue.
You're telling me that not one of them...
Oh, are you done?
Years... all right. I'm just saying that for every one of these people within your community that have struck for a better life, that actually you haven't had a friend that was like, oh, I'm going to leave, I'm going to find a job. That was me. I inspired that person to strive for better. And you are sticking to these ways of, let's keep everything the same and I'll stay with them. We're a family in squalor.
It disgusts me that you think that these folks aren't working towards better. You are blind if you truly believe that. I have seen it myself from that level, that those with do everything in their power to keep. What I have learned about humans in my time here is that they are selfish. And when they have a choice between doing something that is right or wrong, that is not what determines their choice. The benefit to themselves is what determines their action. These people have been trying, and they have failed because other people do not believe in them. They have failed, and I don't even want to use that word. They have not found success. It is not their failure that others are content to look down upon them when they could so easily choose kindness. Have you forgotten? Maybe I don't quite understand how long all of you have been down here.
I've seen many
Question
empires.
my understanding of my purpose.
I question nothing.
Why I am here.
It sounds like you are questioning yourselves.
I understand the purpose. The purpose is to end the demonic threat once and for all. That is the overriding priority. That is the only priority that has never changed, and it has yet to be completed. What humans would do for themselves, to themselves, about themselves. It is only my concern in as much as it affects my ability to see that purpose done. It is not my place, it is not our place to demand they comport themselves to our will.
We all have different callings. I will respect yours, I suppose. It seems like you do not choose to intercede frequently. And I do appreciate your tip when I met you first. It has kept me safe.
Good.
It is at this point, as tensions are kind of been flaring for a bit. You all hear the report of gunfire from above as bullets rip through the air towards all of you. I'm going to ask for a dodge check from everybody.
Understandable.
Yo, like as I see the helicopter shooting at us right before, be like, yo, Aaron, you think you might want to, stop that shit, the whole flying thing? That nice one.
It's not a helicopter that you see, actually. You don't know where the gunfire is coming from. All you can do is you hear gunfire and then you see bullets flying at you.
Oh shit! Oh boy!
So,
oh god!
We're gonna make
Now,
things interesting.
As
Okay.
far as I am also of Nesha, would that aspect of movement be helpful to this check?
That is an interesting ask. Let's take a quick detour into the book and see what the Nesher setup gives us. So dodge would be a form of moving, I would grant. So what this does mean is any coins I draw. So if I draw a coin for you, that would count as an automatic full success for you, regardless of what number the coin shows. And that's the same thing for the Auditor as well, since they are also Nesher. So we're going to just kind of go around the horn here. First, we'll do Auditor. The Two of Swords is not a success. That is, in fact, that is a failure. So that is going to hurt. Next, Irin.
Got this.
The
Come
Six
on.
of Cups is in fact a failure. A 6 or lower fails.
Ooh.
Rigon. The Knight of Staves is a success. So Rigon will be able to get out of the way. And lastly, Asmodeus.
Come on.
The Six of Swords
Ooh.
is a failure.
Yeah.
So everybody but Rigon has these bullets hit. Now, normally, normal human bullets, yes, they hurt. They suck. These are not normal bullets. This is something else that you can feel chip and crack your vessel. The actual crystal that holds your essence in it, that your semblance, that what people see is cast over. And this form is cracked by the projectiles that strike you, causing harm. And that's going to take some time to fix up. But more importantly, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna impede you for a little bit until we, probably for the remainder of this episode, I would say.
Okay.
Except for Rigon. Rigon manages to get he to the side, and you hear the ricochet of that thing, and the ricochet to you almost sounds like the scream of a tortured soul. And Rigon, because you were able to dodge away, you do see a shadowy form kind of obscured by the smoke and haze of the fire, retreating away from one of the rooftops. What do you do, angels?
Scream and say words that an angel shouldn't say.
Valid.
Yeah. In about
The purpose reasserts itself.
I would say
Always when you
Asmodeus would probably
forget
be like
your enemy, it strikes you.
like Asmodeus as he's getting shot, he's like, I'm gonna be so late for this next meeting. Just like this, it's just a big fat inconvenience for him.
The indignity of it all.
I think the Auditor is because he is kind of like a back in. This is an attack. The war is in fact still on, and that's the purpose. That's a purpose. He's very interested in finding out who and where and can I get them killed? Enough of this.
That's a very good question. Several different good questions.
Yes.
The where you might have to have to find out yourself if you're trying to figure it out. In which
Yes.
case,
I would like
we're
to
gonna
investigate.
investigate. All right,
That's
we
the
can
lot
do
of it.
that. You have an investigate, don't you?
Let me actually double check these memories of mine. Did I assess skill for assessment and knowing? I don't know if that would apply.
I believe assessment was like for valuation of things more than.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. So we'll. Do you want to take this straight, or are we gonna go with a memory on this one?
Um. Let's. You know what? Let's try and make a memory of this. Feels like
Let's go with a
good time.
memory. Cool. Who wants to supply the memory for our friend the Auditor?
I remember
I'll go,
when.
Okay.
Yeah. You got it.
Go right ahead. Oh, all right. Well, I'll go with the memory, but we'll take a prompt. Hopefully, something that we have not had in a bit. Because
Well, the
think
benefit is we've had a memory, so.
yeah.
The
know.
prompt I have, the secret I keep from them is.
Ooh. Okay. I'm thinking. What would be fitting? As the Auditor we're sort of in like around Da Vinci times, or like whenever like the first telescope was invented at some point in history. I know it's like in like the double-digit hundreds.
It's late Middle Ages, early Renaissance.
Yeah, like around that time, and Auditor is like this very anxious sort of like scientist, like, oh, like this is a great discovery, and I'm just like marking off like all these like stars and planets, and then as he's trying to find certain ones, I keep the secret up from him of all these other of certain sectors that tell a more like all these like constellations. I keep those secret from him, of those that might shed a little more story into what's beyond the stars, or stories made from people from the heavens into the stars. I keep those secret from him, and for my own enjoyment, and knowing that he'll never fully piece together what everything is on there, just keeping him a little more anxious.
So just because it's an amusing bit for me.
Mm-hmm.
What if the obscured findings, or the unobscured findings, incomplete as they are, form the basis for astrology?
Yes. Yes, please.
Outrageous.
This
Prognostication with no basis.
I like that. Just taking like those books as they are, kind of mitigated and that sort of thing. Yeah, sure, this works. Okay. So invented astrology as a joke. Or by mistake, or by accident.
I'll say it's by mistake.
That's fair.
I was just like, oh, we have all these stars. Like, hey, I guess we got a story going on with them. Let's make some lore. Astrology is just fan fiction of the stars, and I just kept it from this scientist who just wanted legitimate, like, concrete, like, evidence of stuff in the outer world.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. And yeah, I guess that'll give you investigation. You have some idea of how to do that sort of thing. You map the stars.
Yeah.
What, it should be easy to find, one gunman, right?
Yes. This is exactly what that means. Don't pay attention to Yeah, the dais in the back. It's not important.
Yep. Well, let's see what we. Well, here's the other trick of it.
It's another trick.
When it comes to skills and blights, well, skill would, yeah, because the skill is a blessing, so that's good for you. But a blight is a bane against you. The two cancel each other out, so you get one.
Roger.
You can see on here though, unfortunately, because before I remembered that I have already drawn two. So
Mhm.
I leave it to you. In this case, you get to choose left or right.
The left is the hand. The left is the hand holding the sword, and this is a military matter. Let's go for it.
The left says, and with the King of Coins, it is a success.
Yes.
And
Get
so
it.
you look, you followed the report of the fire, and you kind of also notice that Rigon's kind of glancing that way as well. He's not been shot though. And you see a form retreating across the rooftops. And you see the flit of angel wings as they move.
Infighting, it's always infighting. Unless somebody has anything else of import to tell me, I think I've got something to take care of. And yeah, like with and like with I think like the flying equivalent of like a pained limp, the auditor is going to leap up after the shooter.
Okay, yeah,
To try and
like
run them down.
a shaky flap of the wings, and you're up and away after them. Anybody else doing anything before we come to the chase here?
I think I will aid his ascent.
As will I.
Yeah, if he thinks he knows who did it, I will slowly follow.
So yeah, you're able to make your way up the side of the building without too much difficulty. Being angels, you can fly. It's not too difficult. In the mortal realm, it just looks like you guys are just incredibly good at parkour, even though it's the sheer side of a building. But to those with the divine view, you're soaring up the side. You're kind of using um, the obscurements across the side to help propel you up as you go. And you reach the rooftop. The assailant is already a rooftop away. Um, is there anything in particular you want to do to try and catch them?
Here I am no soldier by nature. And but I am of speed, and this is not my first rodeo, as the hip young kids say. Uh, I think I can still just catch them.
You think you're just gonna just flat out speed them?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Okay.
I had the element of surprise,
Yeah.
and they wasted it.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even dead.
Yep. Just hurting. So yeah, if you're gonna go ahead and be on the chase. I think we're doing a skill draw for. I'm trying to see if there's any other particular skills that this falls under, because it definitely is a moving thing of sorts. It's mostly. Do we? Oop! Come on. There we go. Do we have a specific chase or? Yeah. Okay. Let's take. Oh, hey, pursuit. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. I like pursuit. Pursuit is the check. So, we doing that straight, or do you need a new memory for this one?
I think we're going to be doing it straight, but before we get to drawing, I do have a question. Since
Absolutely.
I think it might be fair to since I think it'd be fair to call this a test of flight, is this made against a non-Nesher angel?
Ooh. I. Hmm.
Because mechanically speaking, I do automatically win if it's against a non-Nesher angel.
I do not know off the top of my head, but I do have a way to determine it. So give me a moment.
Okay.
All right, all right.
And survey says it is not.
Yes. Get that.
So you say
man.
you automatically win in this case.
Yeah. In this case.
In this case. Got it. Okay. You just go. Just off to the races. And as you do so, you get to them, you catch up, and you can tell that they have an androgynous form. They are actually just ever so slightly, just about a centimeter, not touching the ground as they're moving. And they attempt to fire on you as you close again with their weapon. In which case, we're going to have another dodge for you to see if you can get out the way.
Would this be a flying test? Because if yes, I have 2 blessings as Nesher.
I don't think you're flying currently. You're just pursuing.
Okay.
Flying would be, if you were midair trying to get after it. So.
Okay.
So, did you want to do this one straight or?
Yeah, I think this I'll do straight. Leave some of those memories open for everybody else here.
So you're currently blighted with your injury. So we're gonna take the worst of the 2. 4 of Swords is pretty bad.
Oh no.
And the 2 of
It
Cups
could get worse.
is also pretty bad. So, unfortunately,
no
they hit you again, like clip you, and you just go skidding to the ground. So you catch up, but then like they've got you on the ground, and like you can feel their foot pressing down, even though it's not directly pressing down on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the cock of a pistol hammer. Stop, or I kill them.
For what? Why? What are you doing?
I am
A
here
quick
to
question.
Go on.
as also an usher, would not I be able to be there right at Auditor's side?
Ooh. Yeah, I'll
Ooh,
allow that. They are time to get one of you. I don't think they have time to get both of you. So I think Rigon, you're there. You make it. What do you want to do? As they're like they've got the gun pointed right at Auditor.
I would like to throw a vicious kick at this being's face to knock them down.
I think a kick is a pretty solid way of going about this.
Nobody
Yeah.
expects the boot to the head.
Divine boot,
would-
bitch.
Whomp. Yeah, pretty sure that's just, hand-to-hand combat at that point, straight away.
I would gladly take a memory for this.
A memory, he says. Who wants to give the memory on this one?
sure. All right. So a few years ago, now, admittedly, Rigon did not see me because otherwise we would have recognized each other when we met. But he was in a homeless camp helping people when a bunch of idiot, say, teenagers came in just to hassle him for no reason. And I happened by and just gave one of them a boot to the head. There.
You
simple
laid into
memory.
them with about, a couple hundred years worth of fighting, and Rigon was like, yeah, gotta remember that move for some time.
There you go. Simple memory.
I think,
Yes,
so yeah,
the perfect
memory.
technique.
Boot to the head, hand-to-hand combat.
I think we can all figure out I think the skill follows logically.
Something like that. All right, so let's pull these back, and so we have 2 cards. I see a Knight of Coins. That's pretty good. The Lovers. Does anybody have the Lovers as their signifier?
No.
Not
No.
me.
Sorry.
Okay, nope, that's fine. Yeah, for those at home, when each of our angels has a major arcana as their signifier, and if that major arcana is drawn, they manifest a new miracle out of their relic. Important. So, that's fine though. We have the Knight of Coins, full success on the board. So yeah, I imagine it's Rigon just running up and just leaping and almost doing a penalty kick and just bam right on the side of their head, and they just go
And I imagine it's right
spinning.
as it's right as because Auditor had completely zeroed in, he still asked the question, and the other being started to respond, they were both focused on each other, and then right as he starts to speak, just
Yeah. Yes.
And just
I approve.
they go flying, they land, and you hear them cursing, and Auditor, you recognize the language as Akkadian before they blink out, and they're gone. But left behind is the revolver that they were holding on you, sprawled about 5 feet away.
I think like after like Auditor kind of like he kind of like very like awkwardly like rolls around a bit so he's not quite so uh face down on the pavement, but and like reaches for the gun and with like and starts like he starts trying to pick it apart like to just to manually like disassemble it. He doesn't like aim it or anything like that. He's just trying to take the thing apart. Like he kind of like punch drunk and then like looks around, settles on Rigon and just like nods and just like nods once. We're focusing
Stand
back on
up
trying to
first.
disassemble this weapon.
So as
Get up.
as you try to disassemble the weapon, you can tell that it's almost it feels like it's fused together, like it's not that. And like as you look down at the weapon, you realize that the revolver is made entirely of obsidian
Ooh.
with
Like,
an emerald hammer.
like in that moment, I'll also like pull and check on my hammer as well. Like, it's made of the same metal, right? I think, if I recall correctly.
I don't think we didn't say exactly what yours is a stone hammer, but we never established what kind of stone it was.
Yeah. Smite. Yeah, I just put down burning hammer, but yeah, like we can say it's like of a similar type of stone as well to that.
If you want to say if you want to say your hammer's obsidian, that's fine. But yeah.
Just
So
like keep it tucked away, but I sort of note that okay, they're the same. This is something to keep in mind for later.
similar material.
And then like I figure like like it's obviously like complete, and I imagine that like that even just checking to see what's loaded in, like that's not it's not quite doable either. It's like I assume it's
actually you can you can
okay.
open the wheel. You can open the wheel, like you can load in bullets, and one of the chambers has this ethereal blue glow inside of it.
And then like Auditor is actually going to like stand up and like switch a little bit and then like tip the chamber over like to try and get it to fall out, try and get the what is presumably a bullet to fall out into his hand.
You tip it over, and the bullet doesn't fall out so much as pour out into your hand, this smoky blue swirl, and it kind of floats above your hand, then around between your fingertips before shooting off into the sky.
And I think this probably isn't the first time I've seen this substance before. I don't think this is I assume this is like the essence of heaven, more or less. Yes.
Divine essence. Most of the time you see this sort of thing when it's like, well, it's not divine fire. It's not what you guys are made of. It's different. It's very much like the fires of creation are like this weird coruscating multicolored thing. This is more akin to like souls, typically, like that little fraction of divinity that humanity possesses.
Okay. This is perhaps it came from heaven, but just as possibly it might have come from people. This 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 is concerning. There are questions. The answers aren't even. This is not a mortal's weapon, not a mundane gun. I am familiar enough with their weapons. After all, they might be of use. This doesn't come apart like they do. It's not made of their materials. It's not loaded with their bullets.
That seems safe to say. The damage to all of your vessels was not insignificant. I do not approve of this assassin's interference with our conversation. Please, and I extend a hand. Please stand.
Yes, and he frowns at your hand, and like he kind of like grumpily takes it, and you're helping standing up. Goes to dust off his clothes, which I should perhaps elaborate a little bit. Like he is dressed the way you would expect of he is dressed kind of like the taxman you really don't want to see. Like, the taxman who is coming because who is coming to check up on your misdeeds to find and squeeze out all the deductions you didn't deserve. And he kind of like brushes off like his now dusty and rumpled clothing. Yes, this rude but understandable, and ambush is as valid a tactic as any other, but the questions are why, and the question is why, and the other question is how. This is not how you deal with an old grudge, and especially considering how recent you are, I doubt this is an old grudge being worked out.
Not towards me, at least. But also, perhaps they were drawn to an unexpected gathering of the divine.
Four is a lot. Usually once you get to 3, you get problems. Differences of opinion, wars. More trouble than it's worth. Usually not the kind of thing you need to target. If you want angels to fall apart, you can just wait. Got all the time in the world and then some. But
why shoot at us like that? That makes no sense.
Isn't it obvious? It means we're on the right track, and they're scared of what we'll find. The truth beneath what they've been pushing us all this time. It means it's a sign to go further. Talk about those questions that everyone is too afraid to ask.
Don't twist this around into more of your agenda. Facts are simple and straightforward, and until we know more, we should not assume. The simple answer as to why you would try to kill someone is that you want them dead. The question that follows is why the 4 of us need going. Why is our life a problem? Especially given differences in direction.
We are quite a motley crew in that, at least I know we have spent quite a few centuries and eons together, but our differences are very vast in between. But who knows? Like you said,
Together is a strong word.
like you said, many divine beings coming together is frightening for those above and below. So, that's my theory that there's more to this than just wanting us dead, and that they're scared of what we'll discover. That's just my theory, and you hold to your own. And I'm sure everyone else has their own thoughts as to why such lowly people among the heavenly hierarchy are being targeted for assassinations.
I think.
And
Go on.
uh,
No, go on. We'll finish this last
okay.
thought.
Others going to frown thoughtfully, and now that the gun is like ostensibly empty of ammunition, gonna close it, point it into the air, and pull the trigger.
Nothing happens, but you feel a sense of hunger radiating from the revolver. And I think that is the perfect place to end this first episode of the Tower of Babble. So, let's go back around the horn, talk to people, figure out where we can find you throughout the week, and get some initial thoughts as to how we are doing here, folks. So let's reverse our order a little bit, and we'll start with Dave. Jamaica, how you doing, friend? Where can we find you? And what'd you think of tonight's episode or today's episode?
Hell yeah. Yeah. So once again, Dave, Jamaica Squeeze. I am here on Twitch at Jamaica_Squeeze. I do variety shit every weekday starting at 10 a.m. Right now I'm doing a roguelike deck builder, and it's called Griftlands. I'm having fun with that. If you want to have some distraction and some noise while you're doing whatever in the morning. I also am, where the hell it was yesterday, what fucking channel am I on? I don't know. Valdrian's channel at 4 p.m. I'm playing a hack of Blades in the Dark called Nightmare on a Frontier. And then, of course, here. And those are the places where I can be found on the internet right now. And also trolling racists on Twitter when I remember to do so.
Always a wonderful pastime.
Yeah.
Very, very appropriate.
Thank you. And then with today, this was great. I think that we are coming together as very different characters, and our ideologies clash, but we're not getting stuck, which is something that's very important when it comes to conflict in this sort of collaborative storytelling. We are doing a sweet job of using it to move forward, which is chef's kiss kind of shit. And I'll be a little honest, looking at this system, which I should look at maybe a little more thoroughly, because there was something you said about the Nesher, and I was like, oh shit, I could do that too. So I think I was a little worried about the system, not really comfortable, but it seems pretty easy, and I feel like we already have a good handle because there's not too much to it, and we just have a lot of opportunity to play off of and with each other, and it felt good. I hope that is a shared feeling, but I am looking forward already to next Friday. And yeah,
excellent.
So thanks, y'all. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for playing, everybody. I'm gonna stop talking.
Fantastic. Everybody has been putting in some good work, and I'm glad everybody's picked up on the system very quickly. And so, yeah, next bit we've got going on. Kev, playing the wonderful Asmodeus.
Yes.
How you doing, friend? Where can we find you? And what thoughts do you have on tonight's show?
Well, yeah, coming from just typically 5e was my entry drug into the world of TTRPGs, and going off of a system just using cards is it's scary. But yeah, I'm liking the randomness aspect and all this. Memories are like really starting to like flex the improv muscles, and it's very fun. I'm liking seeing how all these clashing ideologies eventually, what will result in terms of what we unify and disagree on, and how screwed everyone on Earth is going to be because of us. But as far as where you can find me, I'm at KKutova on all social media, and you can catch me here on Fridays at 2 p.m. EST. And on Wednesdays, I run a Star Wars 5e campaign set in a Clone Wars called Revenge of the Crit. And we're just beginning to get a really spicy arc on Mandalore. And yeah, you can check out the VODs at Kevin Kudo on YouTube, I believe, and watch the most recent streams on the Twitch as well. But yeah, that is where you can follow me for voiceover announcements. I might stream other games as well, but that is to be seen.
Nice. Oya Mandoa. Very nice. Dig it. Obi, how you doing, friend? Where can we find you, and how you picking things up with this?
Well, hi there, everybody. Yes, I am Obadiah at Jossa Dyson on Twitter and on Wednesdays at 7 Central. I am also Hong Huzi, the Half Drow Warden, over on Revenge of the Gith, where we are currently we have made the executive decision of attempting to screw a lich out of her end of a bargain that we objected to, and she has very pointedly reminded us that she has 9th level spells. So tune in to see how that's going to turn out for us. But as far as current events go, this I think I just might like this. Auditor is definitely turning out to be like exactly the kind of like imperious and like thorny that I kind of hoped I could make him. And also I do like really appreciate like the way that I think Jamaica mentioned that in a lot of ways, like this party is kind of defined by its differences with itself, and yeah, hopefully we can continue to make progress in spite of that. As far as the system goes, well, in spite of and because of that, as far as the system goes, yeah, I do like its like actual simplicity. Like it's like ultimately it's very much if you are uncertain how to like if you are uncertain how to do it, how to resolve something, the answer is basically shuffle and draw, and like almost always is going to be shuffle and draw. And I also appreciate the way that like memories memories that they not only stimulate improv but they stimulate bonding. Like a memory is like
Yeah.
each and every memory is a facet of a relationship. And there's always there's always give and there's always take. And the more memories you have, like the more bound together a party is. And that is a good and interesting thing in a storytelling environment.
Very much dig how much the thing is you build your character as you go, and those bonds form what you make, and basically helps tell more of the story together. So very much dig on that. Last but not the least at all, Cadence, how you doing? Where can we find you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Getting to stretch out a little bit of my Irish that's buried deep inside my brain. Yes, I can be found at Magdalene Bloom on the Twitter. let's see. I am also playing Tuesday nights Vampire the Masquerade on Party Wipe Games. Otherwise, I just have home games going on. So it's relatively quiet right now. This system, yeah. And the fact that you use the tarot cards to create your character to begin with, that's fascinating stuff too. It's almost like you're drawing the fortune of the person you're creating.
Yeah.
I could
I
almost
love
run
it
an
so
entire
much.
campaign just built off of making characters and telling those initial stories.
Oh gosh,
Like
yeah.
we did that session
Yeah.
0, and I was like, yeah, we could just do this, and I would have been happy. But no, we get to do more with it, which is always fun.
Yes. More.
And despite how different each of our people are, again, using the memory thing, creating those memories and realizing we might have more in common than you think. And
Hmm. Yeah,
yeah,
like
creating
for
those
all the
ties.
differences that you have, but for everything you've done, that means there's something in the past where maybe you tried something a little different, and maybe it worked out differently for you.
Yep.
So it's good to see that. Fantastic.
Mhm.
And as for me, lastly here, hi, I'm Matt, the Killer GM. You can find me on Twitter at the Killer GM, where I write about gaming, nerdery, and various other sundry things as we are going on. I run this game. I'm going to be running this game for the next few weeks. We're going to see what else is going on. There's going to be some twists and turns. Otherwise, every other Sunday, coming up this Sunday, as a matter of fact, I do have on my own channel, MattEv7, Masks Sunset City, a wonderful rollicking game of teenage superheroes that been running for the past while with folks. It's fantastic. This next week, we are going to come back to our good friend Turbine and find out what he has been up to with the Nephilim and whether or not he is going to be meeting the thing known as the Grigori in an issue we like to call the Watchers. So that's going to be this Sunday at 9:30 p.m. EST over on MattEv7. Don't miss it. Going to be fantastic. Follow all of these people. They are wonderful, fantastic bunch. I am so happy to be leading this band of angels into our own little tale of. I didn't think it was going to be necessarily an end time, but we just might get there at the rate we're going. And so I know we've kind of run things over, and thanks to the host for holding on to us for a little bit longer while we put this together. There is one thing left to say before we say goodbye to the Tower of Babel for now, and that is we're going to cut away really briefly to a place. We see a TV report of fire raining down from the sky in Los Angeles. And reports is what it means. We have, a preacher on one side, a scientist on the other, trying to explain what's going on. And the TV clicks off. And we have a shadowy figure. And they say, they are always so very loud. But we're going to need what they have if we're going to finish this and fix everything. They press a button on the phone, on a speakerphone. Bring me Zagzo. Tell him he failed, and we're going to need to rectify that. And the button clicks off. And that is the end of tonight's issue, or tonight's episode of the Tower of Babel. Good night, my friends. Good night.